SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
A Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown.
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
Our host, Neil Simpson.
If one light goes out, they all go out.
Filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. In your ear holes, on the YouTube, on the Facebook of Lives.
Something.
This is the big 50.
Yep.
50th episode.
And 1 year.
And 1 year anniversary of the I Speak Jeep podcast.
Yep.
All the ups and downs.
All the ups and downs presented by SFJ 4x4. Because, of course, I am Neil, and you are?
Mad scientist Scott Brown.
The maddest scientist, Scott Brown. Mixing and mashing. You know, people ask where that comes from, and I said, you know, back in the day, he used to.
He did it.
No doubt. But back in the day, you used to just for the pure pleasure of being different.
Maybe.
You used to try to mix and match things that people would say were undoable, were unusual, were were not to be tried. And
I may enjoy that.
And mixing and mashing, you know, transmission and transfer case parts and all of those kinds of goodies.
The comments are good, and they're starting to come in, too. We've got a congrats from Wesley, a congrats from Diana, and from Ryan. Holy crap, I've tuned into 50 of these.
All right. Thank you all.
That's a good or a bad thing, Ryan. But
right?
Yeah, here we are.
All of you, right? For sure. Nice to see those of everyone joining us and commenting in and following up and whatnot. And I could have been more reminded this weekend. We obviously had a family birthday party for your daughter.
Yep.
And your brother, you know, had to, like, within the first 30 seconds, had to talk about had to talk about being different, poking the bear, if you will, because all the Jeeps were parked over, you know, along the road, and he made sure he parked his Camaro with us.
Yes.
Because he quote, just had to be different. And I thought, oh, my God, that's an old Brown adage right there. Like, if that's not...
But he's driving a Camaro.
Well, no. It's a nice-looking car.
It is.
It's a nice-looking car. Good for him.
It is.
That's all I'll say.
You know, there was a very rare breed that we saw at the party, too. Very unique.
What did you see?
Well, I'll pull up the picture.
Oh, yes, the Neelicorn.
It's a Neelicorn.
Neelicorn.
So there was that unicorn hat that I believe, Scott, your wife provided.
Yeah, my daughter loves it, but it doesn't fit her, and she's very sad.
Oh. Well, I'm glad
she was trying to wedge it over her shoulders.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to reevaluate my my wardrobe, because that may or may not be the same flannel. I think it's actually different.
I think it's the same one you're wearing right now.
It's opposite.
Oh, it is.
It's the
it is opposite
of this.
Yep.
See, and my wife just put out a post today.
I know. I was like, I want to like this, but I'm a little uncomfortable liking it.
My wife and my sexy flannels.
Yep.
And the term nowadays is lumber sexual, right? So in the 90s we had that metrosexual.
I read that and I was like, I can't process. This is too early. I'm not going to like this right now.
But are you the guy that's taking the axe and chopping full-size logs in one slice?
Not right this second.
Not right now. But I think, you know, if we really had to challenge, I'm here for it. I'll try it at least.
Yeah. That'd be a good challenge. So Chuck also chimed in. It's become a habit. Mondays suck without the podcast. We appreciate that, Chuck. And then Joe, my hovercraft is full of eels.
Okay.
I don't even know what that... I got nothing there, Joe.
Oh, goodness. And
Ryan, I can relate.
Oh, fantastic.
To the hovercraft or to us putting things that shouldn't belong together?
Or maybe that his Monday's not as good without the podcast. I think that's probably what he's...
Or maybe all three.
Maybe all three. Maybe his hovercraft is full of eels as well.
He just says today's random Monty Python quote.
Oh. Goodness.
And Ryan, flannel fat guy summer.
Oh, it is Monty Python.
Yeah, it is.
So many things are better in life with Monty Python.
We just had that discussion.
We literally talked about
That's how we got through the end of the week.
Yes.
You guys had a rough week.
We did.
We've had, if you're tuning in any way, shape, or form, and you have tried to reach out to us within the last 2 weeks, let me just start with I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's just.
Have you ever heard of technical difficulties? Yes.
Yes.
That was last week in a nutshell. If anything could have broken, it did.
Yeah, but let's dial back 2 weeks. Let's dial back to last Wednesday, right? We will be 2 weeks on Wednesday. And
it's all a blur to me.
We are pushing hard down the rabbit hole of everybody sees the SEMA builds. We're not a whole lot different in the sense that despite the fact we were unable to have a build on display this year, we still have, guys out of our facility. We still are transitioning the business. We're still trying to figure out how to work through our workload, so on and so forth. And as of Wednesday last week, I'm trying to sit down here in the studio and shoot a, like a marketplace, how to sell a Jeep video.
And then it happened.
And I'd like to, I really don't believe in like coincidence, but then it happened.
We were smited. The whole area was smited.
The whole area,
just not us.
So I'm sitting at the studio desk here.
He was on a roll.
I was on a roll. I was fired up. We were doing a good thing.
It went black.
I mean, when we say black, like
it was dark.
It was dark. The whole building was darked out. We have emergency lights.
They weren't working.
It was
dark.
It was dark.
You know what you do in that situation? You freeze.
So it comes back on, right? Momentarily, it comes back on.
I was much relieved, but
yeah.
Then
I was pretty frustrated because, of course, all the footage we were shooting, everything was gone, right?
Yeah.
And I was miffed, and so I walked up to my desk and I was like, you know what, Savage, when stuff comes back together, you let me know, and I'll sit back down again, and we'll just take it from the top,
Yes.
do our thing. It didn't come back on.
No. And then we started realizing that only some things were on and other things weren't. And then
we're talking about outlets, like certain outlets on the same like wall were on and
like
off.
Good, not.
Yeah.
And then some lights were working, some weren't. And of course, we're just mystified. We're like, there's magic somewhere happening.
Magic is happening in the wall somewhere.
Yes.
And we looked outside.
Yes.
And the world didn't seem...
Wesley's chiming in selective power, LOL.
Yes. Yeah, we looked out into the world, and it didn't really seem like it was...
anything on fire.
No, it wasn't anything too crazy. So I'm thinking something's wrong with our building. Like a power outage has happened, a breaker has dropped.
Yes.
We are an industrial power. There are people out there right now who is like a small shop machinist who is just dreaming of the electrical feed that we have here.
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the building that
it was put in the right way.
It was put in many years ago.
And we don't do.
Yeah, then we don't really need, right? It's a little overkill and a little lost on us, but we have multiple transformers.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Not like Optimus Prime, but like the kind that step down electricity.
And Greg gets it.
A little bit, right?
But he wasn't here.
He wasn't here. So we're standing around looking.
Joe's asking, was it high wind?
No. Retrospect, somebody drove into a telephone pole or electric pole and took out a transformer at the electrical pole. But we don't know this at the time.
Come to find out, it was even worse than that.
Oh?
That's the power company was here Saturday.
Okay.
And they were explaining some extra details that were above Scott and I's lingo of electric.
But
basically, there was something going on that actually shouldn't have happened, but because of some upgrade, it created that surge of power that we weren't supposed to get.
In Men in Black, where Jay goes into the post office to get Kay, and Kay doesn't remember anything, and he starts talking in that alien language to the guy in the machines and that kind of stuff, and standing there, and you don't know what the hell's going on. That's what was happening when Greg and the electrical people were talking.
Okay. I was like, where is this story? I feel like it's happening. I feel like this is happening right now.
Alien language. I was like, I heard wire and power, and other than that, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What it came down to was there's supposed to be some sort of system in place that prevents a three-phase power from coming back only partially.
Yeah,
and they recently upgraded. They recently upgraded something somewhere, and it no longer prevents that.
Which doesn't sound like an upgrade to me. It sounds like a downgrade.
Let's get to the skinny of this. One leg of 3
correct
came back on.
Single phasing is what they call
Single phasing are three-phase compressor,
it. Yep.
and it
Yeah,
pooped
you know what happens when
in
that
front of
happens?
us.
The soul escapes the motor. You watch it happen.
It smells like electric fire. It's terrible. So here's this incredible high-dollar, compressor we have.
Yeah.
It blows.
And I would have told you 3 weeks ago, air isn't that important. I have battery-powered tools. After
Holy
last
cow.
week, I have just such a appreciation for shop air. I just can't even
Yeah,
express.
and that's the funny thing. We don't use air that much as a facility. We use so much electric. But yeah, so air goes, heat goes.
Yes.
Because we don't have air, and because it also has an electrical transformer
and
on
we
it.
pivoted.
We
We
did-
had heat for like 3 days.
Well, I ended up shutting the whole shop down. I just pulled the main kill switch because
Yeah.
we have two step down transformers.
Thank
Um,
goodness we did, because oh my god,
because
I could've done
those-
it with more.
Because those step down transformers were only processing a single leg of three-phase at that point. So that starts a downward spiral
Bad.
starting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week. And then, we are pivoting hard.
Yes, little compressors are popping up everywhere. They're very
We've got
loud.
little pancake compressors. We've got 8 gallons. We got 15 gallons.
all oilless.
Oh, it was
It's
loud.
so bad.
Thank
Hey.
goodness for the mild fall week, because of course you guys had no heat, reasonably
Yeah.
speaking. Jeffrey's bringing in a kerosene space heater.
Yes,
To-
and we
to
had tops to do.
5,000 square foot
And on the
facility.
instructions, the top said, "Do not install for anything under 72 degrees." I looked at Jeff and said, "We're screwed, man."
I'm just saying that little kerosene heater allowed
Oh
us to
my
put
God.
that soft top on.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, adapt and overcome, man. That is the spirit
Our
of
fingers
SFJ.
still hurt.
Yes, they do.
My thumbs.
I always love when people call in and like, I'm trying to put my top on. I'm like, well, is it a warm summer day? No. Is this your first top? Yes. Oh, well, I'm sorry, you're boned. I couldn't imagine
Do
being
you have
like,
a garage with heat? No. Then you're in
I don't
trouble.
know why. Why did you wait this long to buy your top? That's what
Yes,
my thing is to
because
them.
it's
at that
winter
point.
now, and I need coverage.
Right. With us, we're at
Humans.
least supposed to heat it up and be able to do that, But we always adapt and overcome, and we got the job done, which is a testament to you guys in that regard. So,
Yes.
well done. But it's
Just
this
shoving a boulder
unfortunate-
uphill both ways.
unfortunate comedy of errors have just sidewinded us.
But we now have air again.
Yes.
I almost shed a tear when it powered on for the first time.
Well,
It was so
and what
quiet.
happens when the air comes back on? What's the very first thing that Greg's going to do with air?
Air
Air
hammer.
hammer.
Absolutely.
Just can't wait to air
Immediately
hammer
was
it.
air hammering.
He was.
He was
He
Saturday.
was like an addict. He was like an addict. He was twitching. I need my air chisel.
Literally, within seconds of air. That's how I knew air was back on, was he started air hammering. I'm like, okay, apparently he fixed the air.
That one Saturday where he went without, he was like, well, I could have done this job in 10 minutes if I had my air chisel.
Oh my God, yes.
Okay. Yeah, we're working on it.
Milwaukee, make us an air chisel but battery.
Yeah, but battery operated air chisel,
Please.
right? You know what we had, and of course, really we're into this 20 minutes or so. I don't know, and we haven't even talked about the fact that last week, despite all of this dance we were doing, was SEMA week.
Yeah.
If you were anywhere that wasn't under a boulder on social media, you saw everybody doing the SEMA thing,
Yep.
posting, reposting, having a conversation. Obviously, we have many tales to tell, but ultimately, I had a spectacular time with Greg and Savage out there. We red-eyed in, we red-eyed out, and we got robbed in the process.
Oh.
Just saying.
Oh boy.
Maybe we'll get around to it. Maybe we'll get around to it.
We might have learned some things this year.
We learned a lot of things. We learned a lot of things. And so the big question that I have posed, not only internally, but to other individuals who participate in SEMA. And I've attended some conferences. I don't know if you guys would be familiar with the Arnold, which is a fitness competition. It's spectacular and huge. and it was spectacular and huge, and it's here in Columbus.
Wesley's asking, how was the plane ride?
Well, it was 3 grown men sitting in a sardine can of a school bus in a tube flying through the sky. It was fine. It was fun. Savage and I snuggled. That
seems to be a common theme lately, right?
Absolutely. We did
poor Davey.
absolutely have a medical emergency that almost rerouted our plane mid-flight from Las Vegas to Cleveland. They almost routed us to Houston for an individual who in turn was having a panic attack.
Mm-hmm. Those aren't any fun.
Directly behind Greg.
The worst person on that plane to be behind.
One seat physically behind Greg.
Thank goodness for TSA.
Oh, Greg
Yeah.
would have taken him out. It would have been done. There would have been a panic attack because that individual
He would have put him out of misery.
would have been done.
He won't talk about it either. We tried.
No. There's so many things.
Grunted when we mentioned it.
Oh my God, there's so many things. All right, so we took red eyes, straight flights here and there, and generally speaking, that's Frontier or Spirit. If you're familiar with either of those, that is riding a school bus in a tube in the sky. That is just what it is. They're not even cheap school buses in the sky. They are just school buses in the sky, and they wedge you in as much as humanly possible. I actually did pay for our seats, which is an option. You don't have to pay for seats. But as I was in the airport waiting to board home to Cleveland, they were actually, if you were an individual who did not pay for seats for a flight to Miami, Frontier to Miami, they were kicking you off. Despite the fact that this was your flight, they were saying, hey, you didn't actually pay for a seat. We actually overbooked with more people who confirmed seats than people who didn't confirm seats. So
You are the weakest link.
you are the
Goodbye.
weakest link. We'll see you again, and here's a voucher. So I did pay for seats because I like to sit at the wings and forward. That's just kind of my thing. It makes for a more comfortable ride.
It's the part that gets the crash last. Ideally.
Wow.
I usually
And
like
there
the
we
wings
are.
and behind, but
Well, if it goes down this way, then
I just like the wings, right?
yeah,
I mean,
along the wings somewhere.
I'm along the wings. That's where I
I
want to
would
be.
agree.
I've ridden from nose to tail. I have. It's fine. Whatever. But if I'm in the cheap seats, I want to be in the wings. So, we had sat, again, 3 to the row, just again to make sure that we had confirmed seats. Greg sat window. He likes to look out the window. Despite his gruff exterior, he really likes picturesque things. So he watches the world go by as we fly there. And that's fine. Davey, of course, has to sit center because
That makes the most sense.
that makes the most sense. He's low on the totem pole. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch any of our videos that include me and Davey in it. And Davey needs to sit center on the flight there. So Savage sits center post, and I sit in the aisle, and it's fine, whatever. Our flight there is fine. Nobody sleeps. We get in at 11 o'clock Las Vegas time, roughly 1 or so, East Coast. What do? We put our bags in our hotel, and we immediately go out. To party? No. To people watch.
because they're crazy. If I would have been there, would have been asleep.
It's just the nature of the beast, right?
I don't know. I think I would have wanted to go people
I know
watch.
you would have.
It is Halloween night
Nope.
in Las Vegas.
Hard pass.
Yeah, you have to go see that at least once,
No.
Scott.
You have
I see
to
pictures.
see that. Now, this is arguably Greg and my second time flying in on Halloween night. The very first time I ever took Greg anywhere in the whole wide world, that man had been in like 3 states his whole entire life. I flew him to Las Vegas back in many years ago when we first started going out here, and we flew in. His first plane ride experience was Halloween night. They were literally dressed up and partying on the plane before we went down.
I suddenly understand why he likes Vegas so much.
Oh my God, yeah, right? So we flew in on Halloween night again. We made sure to go out and people watch. Again, I cannot reiterate, we are all business when we were out there. We are intense, crazy, Jeep-driven people. So it's not, it's not like we're out there going nuts. It's not The Hangover, anything like that.
Wesley saying had to be beautiful.
Dude, it was crazy. Wes would have really liked it because he's a musician. We went to a particular vicinity where it's basically a roving or walking party. that travels about 2 or 3 city blocks that has a roof over it. It's called the Fremont Experience. Big thing about that and why the musicians love it is there are actually 3 bands or stages. Jeff, you would have killed for it, right?
Absolutely.
There are 3 stages just absolutely rocking out, and it's such a unique or cool experience in that regard. And again, we didn't do a touch of partying. We literally just went out, people walked up and down the strip, listened to music, and just enjoyed Halloween night. It was very, very fun, entertaining, and interesting, to say the least. But, circle all the way back on that. My question that I was running down this path prior to the plane ride is, how do you conceptualize SEMA to someone who's never been? Because the sheer magnitude and extent of it is so incredibly massive.
I think you'd have to have at least some sort of reference, like I've gone to something in Cleveland or that, and then imagine that times 50 or more.
Right. And but that's so abstract.
Do you know what I remember reading or seeing somebody's post, and it was section like 21,850, and I'm like, okay.
So this is no joke, right? So literally from one end of the hall to the opposite, and this is not hall, this is like 7 connected halls, a campus they call it, will take you, if you were to try to walk it direct, roughly 25 to 30 minutes of you just walking it directly. That's not stopping to go to the bathroom, grab a water, get distracted by something shiny, or to have a side conversation with anyone. That's just walking.
That's just get out of my way. I'm getting to the other end.
That's just head down, hammered through, convoys trucking, and you're going from one end of the hall to the next. It is so big that they actually have Teslas running in a series of underground loops.
Like to get people from point to
Did
point.
we not talk about this?
No.
They're
We did not talk about
shuttling
this.
people with Teslas.
Oh my goodness!
That is new.
All right.
New information has been provided.
New information has
Why
come to
didn't
the
anybody
table.
film that?
We did. We're going to do a whole video on it.
I'm just saying, there's like
So Elon Musk, right? We don't have time, people. I can't even talk about vehicles.
If you use one of the Tesla shuttles, did you get verified on Twitter?
Oh, Davey, there's what happened, Davey. Oh my God, oh my God.
Chuck
Okay.
is saying you found the secret
Chuck,
tunnels.
we found the secret tunnels.
and they have Teslas in them.
QAnon's going crazy because we found the tunnels.
Oh, jeez.
So,
Oh, he went there.
so,
Where's the check mark? He's asking. Wes wants to know.
So, yeah, listen. Hey, I'm not a tweeter. So that's just the downside is I'm not a tweeter. However, we did have an interesting, fun, albeit fun. I was invited and then accepted, and am going through the processing. I now have the Book of Faces and Instagram did invite me just this past week to the professional status.
Oh.
So Davey was.
You're on a new list.
I'm on a new list. Davey was really desperately trying to figure out why or how that could happen because I just don't have as many views on my Instagram account as he does.
Poor Savage.
he's counting our views on Instagram. Yeah. But that's what it was. Obviously, they knew that I rode a Tesla at that point.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, let's go back to the tunnels because this is meat and potatoes. Elon Musk owns the Boring Company, which when it was released many years ago, it's the company that also sells flamethrowers. I don't know if you guys recall that or not.
I do.
It's called the Boring
Of course,
Company.
I know about it.
Right, totally. Of course you do. The Boring Company. They are at their core twofold. One, they are to drill underground, and two, a spoof company for Elon, as far as I can tell. I don't quite understand it.
That's why they made the tunnels.
So they actually have these giant concrete circular barrier tunnels that it has a machine that drives through, and the drilling bit comes through, and then it actually creates concrete behind it and leaves these circular things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They do this in such a way that the objective is the Boring Company drills and owns the tunnels.
Okay.
Okay. And then they contract out the access or use of the tunnels to Tesla, the auto manufacturer.
Of course.
And since Teslas
Conveniently also owned.
conveniently also own,
It makes perfect sense to me.
I can't fault him. This is brilliant as far as I'm concerned. Since they have, reasonably zero emissions, they can drive under the ground. And so there is a series of not-so-secret tunnels under Las Vegas that the Boring Company is seeking and actively drilling and creating more. One tunnel over to the
So
Strip.
it's making Tesla taxi service underground.
Yes.
Whoop, there it is.
And then you don't have to worry about the heat sucking because
Whoop, there it is.
That's what I heard with Teslas up here. The heaters aren't very good.
And
because you're underground, it's a nice ambient temperature.
And what they do is, in 2 locations, they have awninged, basic covered access. They have drivers, hundreds and hundreds of drivers making in Las Vegas.
Why do they have drivers?
Because they're not allowed.
Well, incredible how Tesla is branching is what Wes is chiming in with.
That is the case, man, because here's the thing, and we all know what the writing on the board.
Can we call them engineers? Can we call the drivers engineers?
Oh, that's funny. I can.
They were.
You know what? They were well vetted, well read people. They're subcontractors, so they're just coming in for weekend and event work. They're making between $17 an hour in Las Vegas, and they can pick how many hours they want in 8-10-hour shifts or something like that in Las Vegas. They're making upwards of $25 an hour in San Francisco.
Where's the charging station for all these cars?
I got to back up a minute. You said they're not allowed to use driverless cars.
They're not autonomous yet.
But they're underground. They're not on the roadways. So
totally.
Can he use his magic to cheat that system?
So I mean, I think that again, any
because they're private roads at that point,
right? Well, see, the thing is, I think there's something like because they're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's something there that he's not using them yet autonomously. And so you're right. Maybe there's something in the future. I think we're all looking at this going, we know where this is going. These are going to be autonomous driving cars.
I saw that movie, iRobot.
Yeah. These are going to be autonomous driving cars sooner than later. These people are filling a void. They're running the route 1,001 times. Do you know how much data those cars are collecting?
Yes. That's why you
realize
upgraded.
that if you rode in one of those cars, your phone just gave everything. You're on their marketing list now.
That's why you got upgraded.
That's why I got upgraded.
That's why you got upgraded.
That's why I got upgraded. That's why I'm on a pro account now for Instagram and Facebook. So,
yes, but can you launch rockets out of them? Rockets with expensive internet. That's from Chuck.
I mean, look at what Elon's doing. You know what I mean? And it's all integrated in some capacity. So
I think with the way he's going, you're just gonna be able to take one of his cars to the moon at some point.
At some point,
or to Mars.
It might be his goal.
In a boring
or to
tunnel.
the center of the Earth.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah. So there's actually circle back to the fact that there are tunnels underneath the convention that will run you from the West Hall to Center Hall to North Hall.
How long?
How long is each ride?
Yeah.
Each ride is roughly 3 to 5 minutes.
I was way faster than being out.
Barely able to put your seatbelt on.
Barely. Yeah. And of course, I mean, we got to ride in Model X's. I think it was Model Y's.
So did they have plates on them?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were all plated.
Oh.
I mean, and and you're going to have to find the video, folks, because we're going to put a video out on it. Davey shot, 3 to 4 minutes, and we're going to talk about it. It was just a wicked cool experience. These things zipping in and out of the tunnels. Obviously, they have this 360-degree notification. Now, I would say we took Lyft and or Uber about 6 times while we were out there. I would say 3 out of the 6 times we rode in Teslas. Tesla is just kind of the standard.
So were you guys
fighting
fighting over a shotgun?
No,
you all crammed in the back?
No, I always sit in the front. No,
You just always say
it is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
He wants to talk to the driver.
And Greg's perfectly happy with that. I do. I talk to the drivers all the time.
That's why you know how much
What's
they
going to
make.
happen next time you go out there and it is the autonomous vehicles? You're not
Well,
gonna
it
be able to
better.
talk to the driver.
That thing better talk to me. Better tell me
You're
its
gonna have a
history.
conversation with it like it's Siri.
Better tell me its history. How long it's been in Las Vegas.
Oh, boy.
I actually met for the first time. This is the first time I've been out there like 5 times now. This is the first time I've ever met a person who was born and raised in Las Vegas. First time.
They do exist.
They do exist. They do. Yep. Go figure. Go figure. So, needless to say, that is just one of the ways to get around is these now the new edition. I guess these launched mid-COVID. So, again, secret tunnels being built during COVID. I mean, just the storylines are
wonder
fantastic.
why people have tinfoil on their heads.
Right. Right. And they were being built in the West Coast. I mean, they're being built in like 2 or 3 different cities, big urban spaces, and these people only work, a couple days at a time. You know what I mean? So it's fascinating. Now, really, really well run for a lot of transient workers. Well, it's one of the things that's fascinating about
because
SEMA.
the car's driving itself. There's just a person in it.
Yes, but even like so you walk up, there are 9 to 14 stations where you can get in a car. Cars are pulling in and out every second, right? And there is typically people stationed at least 10 of those stations.
So let me ask this. Since the Hyperloop's never got approved, is this the new Hyperloop?
I kept calling this the Hyperloop.
Yeah.
Under the pretense
also
that
why you got upgraded. We gotta watch this guy now.
Oh my gosh.
They're tracking you. That's the real thing.
Me and Big Tech, we're besties now. No,
That's
I kept
what they
calling
want you
this.
to think.
Yes.
Wes is saying crazy tourism.
Oh, for sure, and that's exactly what it is. They want people to come out there and to
see the
have
tunnels.
the best possible experience. They don't want you to go out there and gripe about having to get a taxi, right? Or the conversation years ago. I mean, as a young man growing up in small town America, I was concerned about going to get in a taxi because I thought that taxi was going to hit that that chest plane button where the timer starts, and they were going to drive me all around the city. And I didn't know what my fare was going to be when I got out. It could be $12, it could be $70. I don't know.
So how much was
my
it
understanding
for a
is they
Tesla ride?
actually benefit from the shorter drives, so they try to fire you out as quick as possible.
Well, that's probably the reality of the factor. But as a young man growing up in the 80s and 90s in small town America, we didn't know about cabs and taxis, right? So
how much
we made
is
up our own reality.
How much is a Tesla tube ride?
A Tesla tube ride is free.
Oh,
What?
It's free.
What?
that's not going to
Mind blown now.
It's free because it's part of the convention. They subcontract out their services. So the Boring Company subcontracts out to Tesla. Tesla and so on and so forth subs out to the conference. The conference subs out to the city. It's all, nobody owns anything.
no liability.
Chuck is chiming in. I'm hungry for a buffet for some reason.
They're all shut down, Chuck. They're all shut down. We tried to eat them. We tried to eat at them, and the only one that would have made sense would have been like Caesars or something like that, and that's like $100 buffet. Ain't nobody got money for that.
Wes is saying, I thought it was because they didn't use gas.
No, unfortunately not the case, Wes.
And then Chuck's response, of course, WTF.
yeah.
To the buffets.
We did have the breakfast buffet at Circus. Delightful as usual. Funny thing about Savage, he doesn't eat a whole lot. He eats on his terms. So if you're buying meals for Savage, prepare to waste your money. So let's just leave that at that.
Wow.
You're gonna see
He's
in
a
the
nibbler?
vlog.
He's a nibbler.
He's a nibbler.
But the real question is, was it because he was in too much pain from all the excessive walking that you guys did?
There's so
He
much
was
to pack
worried.
into this conversation. Let's go back to, is he a nibbler and was he in pain? Yes, he was in pain. And so, honestly, he fared better. And again, we go back even further to the how do we conceptualize this for people? I'll give this thought to you before we move on to Savage's, pushing through the pain of the walk. Now, it's important to note, we did 15 miles the first day, 10 the second, and a 7-ish the 3rd. So we didn't quite
hit it strong and tapered off.
We did. We hit it strong. We tapered off. So we did over 30 miles in 3 days. If you're sitting at your desk right now or in your, in a room at a computer, I don't even care if you're standing at a machine doing it, pulling buttons and moving presses around. That's,
So
30.
I hear, Jeff, next year we have to start them conditioning.
Correct.
Yes.
About a month and a half before.
Correct.
I know this great security company where I used to work. Walk 15 miles a day minimum.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
just go work there for a week. You'll be conditioned.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I'll leave you with this image before we go back to the Savage being a nibbler. We passed a couple, probably the first time at SEMA. Without being entirely too graphic, she was propped up on the street, because at first I thought maybe she was one of the homeless or the mental health insecure people out there. No, she was actually crying and kind of like rocking because her feet were so blistered and bloodied, and they were trying to bandage her feet. And this was a Wednesday. This was day 2 of the show.
Oh my.
Wow.
It's serious. When we tell people, like,
So
you're
you
just
buy
going to walk.
shoes for SEMA.
You buy shoes for SEMA.
And you throw them away when you're done.
I went and bought inserts. I went and bought, like, Dr. Scholl's
Of course
while
you
I was
did.
there. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I've got to. And you know what? I found out when I put them in my shoes, I had already had inserts from last time. I was like,
So you
not
had to
last time I
remove
was
the
at
old
Las
ones.
Vegas. No, I doubled them up.
Oh.
I was like, I'll take all the cushion.
Oh God.
So, as you watch the vlog, you're going to want to watch our follow-up videos. And likely, Davey, at one point in time, had to say to me, actually maybe a couple times, had to say to me, you know who edits these videos, right? And I was like, yeah, but there's going to be things I'm looking for. Because Davey was definitely not part of the Clean Plate Club at any point in time.
I have to chime in on Chuck's comment here. He says, little known secret, the Savage needs Metallica and classical music for maximum motivation.
That's not what he listens to.
That's his point. He will get out of the vehicle on a trail and immediately start taking photos so he doesn't have to sit and listen to that music.
Oh.
This goes back to Bantam Trail Fest. And Chuck was...
I think that comment wins the day.
Oh,
that's
Chuck
great.
was listening to classical music.
I think that's perfectly fine.
I know you would.
I'm going to completely change up my playlist next time Davey's riding with me now.
Oh, not just oldies?
Not just oldies, that he also hates.
Well, a lot of Metallica songs are actually based on classical riffs.
They are.
They are. Okay. I'm gonna tell you this thought, and then I feel bad. I'm talking. I just want to know what's going on with Scott a little bit. You know?
Scott's sitting over here.
I know.
Drinking some water.
I'm gonna leave you with this. At one point in time, we were out at this barbecue joint at kind of a known entity place, and they do brews and barbecue, right? That's all they do. At this point in time, I'm dying for something green, anything that resembles a salad or broccoli or green beans, because everything to that point has just been...
You don't do that on a conference.
Everything has just been rich, savory, creams, meats, smokes, all that kind of stuff.
Sounds amazing to me.
Nothing.
It does sound amazing, except for when you're 3 days in of the same thing, right? I'm dying for something green, so we end up in this barbecue
You've
joint.
seen how much pierogies I eat here.
right?
That is fine by me. I can go.
Me and Jeff got that.
Oh, goodness.
We might die afterwards, but we got it.
So we end up at this barbecue joint where I'm hoping they at least have like a side salad, you know?
It's barbecue place.
No. The closest thing you're getting to a vegetable or a fruit is in a fermented version. And
Olive Garden would be a good place from Wes.
I don't think they have Olive Gardens. I honestly don't know if there's an Olive Garden, or at least it doesn't hit on our radar. And it's so cool being in
Teslas don't go there.
No, Teslas don't go there. I mean, I'm sure Las Vegas has an Olive Garden, but when I'm in a new place, I want to eat in all the local places.
I
you know?
agree.
We
find
are
some
there.
really cool places.
We are there to find the cool old school divey joints, or the notable areas.
They probably have to truck everything in since they can't grow stuff out there.
That's probably true.
Rob's saying they had to have coleslaw at least.
Rob, you're absolutely right. That was my saving grace. Was they had coleslaw, right? But it was like a shot glass of it. You know?
I hate that.
They have to-
Such a
I
disappointment.
want
You're so
coleslaw.
excited for the coleslaw, and they give you that, and you're like, "That's a ketchup container."
Right. I want 2 shots of it, and they had a cheddar jalapeno cornbread on the menu. And I was like, all right, I won't double up my coleslaw because I'll get that cheddar cornbread, jalapeno cornbread. No, it was not good. I should have just gone for the coleslaw. Long story short, I got half the chicken and a brisket meal. Fantastic. Davey, after mutilating his chicken,
I heard a story about this.
picked it up and hid his brisket under the chicken.
It's just not right, Davey.
The savage hid his brisket
Why would he hide his brisket?
so he could be part of the Clean Plate Club.
Oh, boy.
We weren't messing
But
around.
you still had chicken on there.
I know, but at least we knew about it. And he was like, I'm going to eat it, guys. I'm going to eat it. And I was like, yeah, sure you are. You could tell he was nibbling, right? He was at that point, he was just nibbling. And it was like totally one of those moments in the movie where like everybody looks away and then he looks back and the plate's clean. So I literally, folks, you're going to want to see this on one of our social medias or on the post-production.
Pocket brisket.
Pocket brisket for Wes.
That's Wes.
I have a picture where you can just see he left like a dime size brisket sticking out. I was like, I see the brisket sticking out. Oh,
great.
Davey.
yes.
I honestly am looking forward to these videos.
Oh my gosh, they are going to be fantastic. You're gonna not want to miss them. I don't know that the pocket brisket, if you will, is gonna make it, but it's a great story, great memory, nonetheless. I haven't even talked about vehicles, but of course, if you're on social media, you'll see all the vehicles,
And you did
regardless.
like a couple Jeeps out there.
I did, and I shot a video on my my favorite 5 Jeeps.
I heard one was controversial that people said they should get driven into a wall or something.
Which one do you think was that?
I don't know. I think Chuck was talking about how it needed to hit a train or something.
Oh, the pink one. The pink one. You know what? I didn't even shoot a video on that one. I did shoot a little Instagram teaser, but that's not one that made the final cut.
Didn't make the cut.
Though I can tell you after seeing coverage, because we dipped out, obviously Thursday, just to give a lowdown for most people who, if you care at all, Tuesday we did we plowed through the halls, the outside and the halls that made sense to us, right? And there is an off-road hall or exhibit space, so we actually kind of systematically zigzag that space to check out what Jeeps were in that area. We tried to the best to keep our profile low. Take pictures as we went. Now, obviously, there's going to be a lot of plain Jane Jeeps, your base lift, clean tire wheel package, and then a rooftop tent or a bumper package or a side step or some underglows or some interior lights. And those builds are a dime a dozen. And then there's the ones that really jump out at you, the stuff that really command attention. And so we were really trying to gauge which ones were going to make the list. And then we maintained that low profile, and we tried not to engage in too much shiny object distractions. With that said, we did have a safe word when maybe I would get a little distracted.
I heard about this.
Yes.
It was Greg's idea.
And at first, and I don't remember whose idea it was, but
According
it was
to Greg. It was Greg's idea.
Well, at first it was peaches.
Of course.
It was peaches.
Huh.
And if I heard peaches, I should recenter.
Bring you back to center.
I should bring me back. We should bring me back to center. I should disengage with the conversation with whatever X, Y, and Z manufacturer or individual who maybe I don't get to see that often.
So now they all know that every time they heard peaches, that was, hey, Neil, shut up.
Well, I mean, and that's okay. Like if people on the large scale know me, like I'm a little out here, so like that's not
Always
secret.
focused.
So
squirrel.
peaches. But then at some point in time, the safe word became upside down pineapple.
That's
See,
what Greg
he
told us about.
And upside down pineapple is not just a fun, lovely print, but in some communities it has a further meaning. And so, unfortunately, that's the one that stuck. Peaches didn't stick, and unfortunately, upside down pineapple was what stuck. So it'd be like, Neil, upside down pineapple. or from 10 feet away, upside down pineapple. So here we are walking through SEMA, having to upside down pineapple people.
Oh, boy.
I did have to upside down pineapple Greg one time. I'd like to put that on record. So
sure. It does happen.
It does happen.
Was it at the Ricky one?
No, he never went and found that individual. He talked about it a couple times. He wasn't exactly sure, and he didn't want to get too crazy on that. I had to upside down pineapple him on actually a really cool product, but not particularly relevant. It's sometimes Greg really likes those trending products that we can bring back to our consumers. The good and the bad is, one, we're oftentimes on the forefront of, up-down air systems, or the ARB twin compressor systems, or some of our side steps, or our pulse. A lot of those first industry products, we're right there on the front lines with them, which is cool, and honestly a testament to Greg on many products. They also bite us in the butt very regularly because they're not thoroughly vetted, and then we're here explaining to the customer, like, yes, we did a really good job installing. I'm sorry that's a crappy product. Yes, it's going to be a really good product in 2 years, but hey, you're the first one in the country who has it. Yay! Sometimes it works out in our favor. Sometimes it works out in favor. Sometimes it doesn't,
Hashtag Kevin.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. And Artie. Sorry.
I feel like Kevin started bringing us those lately, though.
Well,
he's full for punishment. He just likes it.
So what he found, and Kevin would be all about this. Honestly, we were there, and we thought, oh my God, this is a Kevin product. It is actually a product that goes in the...
He just scooted up his chair. He's like,
I'm so excited about... Well, because I want to believe in these products.
Kevin did. Kevin scooted up his chair. He's like, I'm listening really intently.
It is actually a product. It's a really beautiful billet aluminum, fully machined, and basically it's a oversized check valve that inserts into your oil cooler assembly on the 3.6. Okay. And so it looks, the 3.6s, if you're joining us and you're unfamiliar, in the JK and the JL, the 3.6s take a cartridge style filter. So it's a microfiber cartridge that inserts into kind of a little cup or a housing, and it's when you change that oil filter, you actually remove that cartridge and you throw it away. So not your old school spin-ons. And our 2.0 customers, you still have a traditional spin-on cartridge filter. Apparently with that paper filter, because it does not have, apparently this, again, it's amazing how these little niche businesses pop up. This guy's passion in life is oil bleed down. Okay? And
he doesn't like the rattle in the morning.
He doesn't like the rattle in the morning. In fact, and so he has an entire company dedicated to not having the rattle.
I'm intrigued.
And so
my JK rattles in the morning.
So this beautiful billet heavy duty piece actually
does it have a filter you just clean then, I'm assuming?
Better yet. I'll get there. Give me a second.
I've got to inch up my chair now.
I know. It actually inserts. It's a billet housing, and it inserts just like the paper cartridge filter does.
I would expect no less.
And it inserts down in, and it has a check valve, so the engine, so that it cannot bleed down.
Yes.
Okay. And then they make it in two-way shapes and forms. One is just a traditional screw-on filter, and it takes like a standard 570145 or something like that.
Okay.
Something that we stock on the shelves here for other applications, and there is sufficient hood clearance, and it sticks up. Yep.
Mind blown.
Yes, and so they did this for a bunch of applications. Now, apparently the Bronco actually bleeds down. The Bronco all application bleeds down in seconds.
That's why
it's out of oil in seconds.
That's why you should buy a Jeep.
Whereas 3.6s have oiling issues, but a little over more time. Additionally, this piece is sold in a second variation, which Greg and I were drooling over, in that it actually has it actually has 2 line fittings that come out of it
For a cooler?
for a cooler and a traditional spin-on, a remote spin-on filter location.
I mean, I don't hear anything I don't like yet.
Kevin's going, I've absolutely been looking at the anti-drain system.
I know Kevin.
No less.
I know Kevin. That's why we're friends. I know, and I took pictures for you, and I have his business card. Yep, and it's just a really interesting product. So of course that's where Greg got upside down pineapple.
Oh
because
yeah, I mean you say filtration, quality machining,
right?
I mean that's
This
his
guy,
love language right there.
It was his love language. It's Greg's love language.
I mean,
That's why the upside down
you just have
pineapple
like
works
a
so
pretty
well.
scene behind it, and he's done. He's good.
Oh my God, it's so true. And I was just like, you know what? I've done this dance. I've been here for a decade now. I'm thinking this is a cool product, and this guy is obviously a good. He believes, he's passionate. He's
you
here to
ask
sell.
him all the hard questions,
And we asked him the questions, and he answered stuff appropriately. I mean, he's doing stuff for Chrysler, car applications, anything that takes that standard paper filter.
Yeah.
And this technology, he's talking about taking it to multiple bases. Right now, it's really in the Chrysler cars and trucks, Jeeps, and the Ford Broncos is where their main focus is. I particularly like, because we have customers who really want to set up to tow out of their 3.6.
Makes perfect sense to me.
It's an anti-drain and it's a remote reservoir.
Yeah.
And or remote cooler, right? So you can increase fuel capacity and you can cool it
Oil
down.
capacity.
Love language. Upside down pineapples. We strayed for a field today.
It's all part of the culture, right?
Oh boy.
Next thing, Jeff's going to be putting ducks out on his windshield again.
They're already there.
Oh,
The top's back up. It got cold again.
I see. Okay.
You guys came back and it was cold again. I don't know what happened.
I know.
It was
So
summertime while
that
we were
was
gone.
Tuesday. Wednesday was business meetings. I got prepped and ready, and really the value, and one of the things that I'm having to look back on is the fact that for me, increasingly these are becoming more and more beneficial. Oh, Greg went to a class on Tuesday when we got there, a TPMS class. Which, and again, those are valuable to this event as well. That's not even part of the whole walking and tubes and all that kind of stuff that I was talking about. Those classrooms are on a second story
they have
elsewhere.
classes in the Teslas.
They don't have classes in the Teslas.
They could, though.
Yet. So business meetings all day Wednesday for me. So that's why we only did 10 miles on Wednesday. Most of that was actually trying to get to breakfast. I will tell you this on breakfast. Breakfast on Wednesday was $9, and it was an 8-ounce sirloin steak,
We know.
eggs, potato.
There's a story with that.
Oh,
I'm eating my macaroni and cheese for lunch.
in the cold.
In the cold.
With no
shop
compressor.
air.
While walking around trying to get stuff done.
Yes. And he calls me, and I hear him order his steak, and I look at Jeff, and I was like, it's a good thing we're on a level.
This son of a gun
Because
is ordering steak in my ears.
You hit him right in the feels. I
For
mean, talk about a
breakfast.
gut punch.
I just looked at Jeff, I was like, I have an issue. I'm going to eat my macaroni and cheese.
in the cold with
In
no
the cold
shop
with no
air.
shop air.
Desperately trying to turn any job out.
Anything.
I believe that's what led to bringing the kerosene heater in, honestly.
Yes. Jeff saved my bacon there on that.
Oh, I worked for a couple hours that morning. That's right, I did. We were on the phone working.
Yes.
Well, I'm eating.
Well, I'm over
ordering
here
breakfast.
pouring gasoline on the fire over here. He's ordering his 8-ounce steak and eggs. And I'm like, I've never had steak and eggs in my life. I hope this is part of the buffet that he has included with the room. That's all I have to say. Not salty at all. It's like, good thing we're best friends, because otherwise that's like, I'm walking, I'm done.
I'm done. I'm out. I'm out.
Lock the door.
Lock the door. Oh, gracious. Huh. Oh, noted.
Perception.
Perception.
It was all good. I knew it was all had a
Yikes.
reason.
Yikes. It was $9.
That's what I know. I gave Greg crap about it. He's like, but it was like $8-9. It was cheaper than McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
It's like noted.
It literally
Still
is.
sounded bad.
It literally is. It's amazing. All right, and then business meetings the rest of the day. So really good things that come from that, and will directly benefit us. And honestly, I found one of my favorite Jeeps. I think mine will be heavily. Well, you're gonna have to see. Mine sway one direction.
I would say Greg referenced two.
Okay.
That was like the holy grail, and you love both of them, so I'm really curious to see what those are going to be.
Yeah, and I did no particular order, and the last piece that I will say about it is that I was following coverage on Gone Jeepin', because obviously those guys and we're kind of at a point right now, like, you know, people like to see these pictures of like with people they know, with other people they see in magazines or on TV or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of at a point with a lot of those individuals where, for me, it feels a little odd being like, hey, let's take our obligatory picture so people can see us. And so I think I'm just going to have to dig up ones from the past and like recirculate them.
Yeah.
Because, of course.
But then you do a little thing. Is this year or 3 years ago?
Yeah. Well, and
it's a 10-year challenge.
10-year challenge. So I got to see the guys at Gone Jeepin'. So Rick Paywade and Chris Collard are the kind of probably the two primary characters, but then a handful of guys of Ultimate Adventure from years gone by. We hooked up in a couple different spaces. It's funny because as big as this event is, there are individuals out there, and our paths cross constantly. So, Fred Williams, Dirthead Dave, Rick Payway, Chris Collard, then you go on to like industry professionals that our paths cross, that have enough notoriety and whatnot, and people are like, oh, hey, that's cool, I see them in their videos, I see them, blah blah blah, and I'm like, the issue is like we do our initial like embrace and like shake hands and do small talk and talk about whatever Jeep we're standing by or vehicle or whatever, and then we just constantly run into each other for the rest of the show. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, hey, there you are again. Oh, yep, hey. So it's like you don't want to necessarily like go above and beyond because like these are your peers. You know what I mean? You're just there having fun, trying to check things out, provide coverage. Now, with that said, so I saw them on day 2, and I've always enjoyed their content. I will be the first person to say they have acted as industry mentors of ours to kind of set the bar to say, hey, what is that knowledge base? What is that authenticity that we should strive for? The longevity in the industry. These guys who, these are not flash in the pans. These are not guys who are getting online and, they like this product over this product.
30-year veterans at this point.
More, right?
Yeah.
And they're not getting online, BSing and fighting amongst the squabble online.
Yep.
They're just, hey, they just want to enjoy Jeep life, So I'm following their coverage after I've left on the red eye and home. There were a bunch more Jeeps that I missed. I don't know what hall they were in. I don't know where they were. I'm looking, I'm going, oh, that one would have been really cool. Oh, well, that one would have been really cool. I'm just carrying on and on. I'm like, man, these are wicked awesome builds, and I don't know where they were. I did. Okay, give it to Greg. He found it. Then Davey found it. But he did text message me. I was like, yeah, I'm at this Jeep. It's awesome. He's like, you're late to the party. Look back in your text messages. And I was like, oh, shoot, my bad. I like to stake the ground that SFJ initially found one of the coolest builds of SEMA. To my knowledge, I did turn the Gone Jeepin' guys onto it, and Truck Hero was there, stretching their dangly fingers into their madness that they have bring to the table. If you're not aware, they are a conglomerate company who owns tons of other companies, and they're kind of the new 4-wheel parts, if you will. Not the brick and mortars that people are aware of, but the parent company level, because the parent company of 4WP has dissolved. at this point. Interestingly enough, even selling warehouses off. We got all of that skinny included. So, man, we just covered the gamut. So you're going to have to look for that one. It was the build was absolutely beautiful. The story behind it was really interesting. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the content that we create looks like at the end, because it was pretty cool, to say the least.
Yep.
So, and then I came home and I got the flu.
Stomach bug.
Yeah, you know what? The con bug.
It's not the...
You know what Jason called it? The con bug.
Con bug?
Yeah, convention or conference bug.
Oh.
He said, "You've never got the con bug before?" And I said, "No." He's like, "Oh,
that's because you usually get it on the way to it."
Have.
But I have.
You had it at York. You had it on the way to Michigan. I could probably think of more.
I have the immune system of an infant.
Yes.
That's a shame. So I'll leave you with this at the last piece of when we got robbed. Because as much as I try to tell people, Las Vegas is a super safe, very nice. I would tend to not think twice about taking my family there. Honestly, as a small town America man, boy growing up here, I just didn't want to go. I was worried. I was scared. And I wouldn't think twice. But I do believe in you have to be in the right place at the right time. And if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're exposing yourself to trouble. That is just the reality situation. Thursday night, before we boarded the plane, we decided to go out for a meal at a restaurant, and one that Greg and I have been to before, and it's a authentic, old school neon cocktail waitress, high customer service. You know, the host is really on top of things. The table staff are fantastic. You know, that kind of stuff. But I mean,
did you hear that, Scott? Cocktail service on top of steak and eggs.
I heard it. As the oil compressors in the background.
He can't even tell a story anymore.
We're trying like, no, we're all good, people. We're good. Shop's not burning down. Your Jeep's perfectly fine.
The internet was down. Phone was down this week.
I forgot about the internet was down.
It was honestly a blessing, because it was able, like, not running over there to get yelled at by people.
That's true. We were focusing on jobs.
Work on vehicles now. And it was real cute. Your dad came in at some point. He's like, "Hey, would you like me to do the phones?" Well, the phones aren't working right now, so that would have been great.
Yeah, we appreciate it. However, we don't need it right now.
Yes.
Wow.
That's when he chose to offer.
That's when he chose to offer.
He knew. He tried calling. Like, oh, phones are down. Let's show up and offer.
Yes.
Oh.
I did finally let him in on how the phone system works. He's like, "I tried calling you again." It's like, I don't get those messages.
Oh, okay. So it's important. All right, I'm gonna finalize this here. I'm gonna say we were trying to eat our meal, and this young woman comes up, and she says, "Can I take your guys' picture?" And I said,
"Oh,
no."
It's one of those.
She said, "It's completely free. It's 100% free."
Sure, it is.
And I was like, I know where this is going. But maybe.
Danger, Real Robinson. Danger.
Just maybe this is part of their environment.
Wait. You had a photographer there.
I wanted a picture with our photographer.
He says, "Need to bring a cop with you next year." Wink, wink. That's from Chuck.
Chuck, of course. Yeah.
I think he's hinting at something.
Yes.
Oh,
and she says, "I'll take your guys' picture, and it's perfectly free. Not a big deal. You know, just scoot together and I'll take your picture." And I thought, you know what? I never take these pictures at Cedar Point or at any other,
There's reasons you don't do this.
I never do these things. You know what I mean? And for a brief moment, I thought to myself, you know what?
They're actually free, but they're not
They're
free.
actually free. I'm thinking, hey, you know what? It's because this restaurant would not hustle me taking my picture. You know?
Neither would Cedar Point when they got the picture up on the screen showing you go down this thing, and that's only $30 for you to get that picture. They took your
yes,
picture
but there's
already.
a human right here. You know what I mean? And she's telling me it's free.
They used
so
to
we
do
scoot
this at
together.
car shows too.
Scoot together. We take a picture. We're silly about the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she leaves. She comes back, a couple minutes later. She goes, here's your guys' perfectly complimentary picture. And she had a whole, just a hustle. Boom, full hustle, rehearsed. And she was like, and these pictures, I work 100% on commission and not involved with the business whatsoever. No tips or gratuities are extended to me. And these pictures, you can have 2 for $25, including your complimentary one that I already took and printed. And she hustled me.
You fell for it?
He did.
Wow.
So
They took my hard-earned money. But look at this one. We were both making kissy faces at
oh boy,
at the Savage not too long before.
So they literally do this at big car
Where's the
shows.
upside down pineapple in that picture?
I don't see one. Where they, as you come into the show, they take your picture in your car, and then later you want to go look at your picture, and you have this little tiny photo that's free. And then if you want this size picture, it's like $25 to $30.
Yep.
And you're like, but I'm here, and it's a
Oh, it was 100%.
experience.
And she gave me like the sad story that
Yes.
she's already
The violin
made these.
came out.
She's already made these and already print them. And here's Greg, and the screen doesn't show it well, but this is Greg doing kissy faces into Savage as well. So, mind you,
poor Davey.
100% sober. We are not those guys, and yet we can make enough poor choices, completely uninebriated, to fill so many podcasts. So, anywho, in a nutshell, you're gonna have to check out the videos for all of the other fun, cool vehicular content.
Mhm.
If you have any questions you want to send through, send those through to us. We can address them next week or so. Kevin, your leak down or anti-drain system will be here in a week or two. Good luck, since it's a first production run.
Meh.
And
That's why it's called Archie.
Artie, not Archie.
Same difference.
No, it's not the same difference.
Not at all.
No,
Man scientist, same difference.
no.
I think we take a quick break. We come back and we talk about Fox Shocks.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
And now it's time for our product spotlight. Hashtag not sponsored. Spotlight. Hashtag not sponsored.
All right. We're going to make this brief because I could pontificate on Fox Shocks for an entire podcast
Yeah,
myself.
Scott hasn't talked at all as it is, so we're just looking at that out of the way over here.
He's in his feelings this morning.
Right?
He's I'm gonna have to do something about some steak. I'm gonna have to buy some steak for the shop or something. If anybody is a good short cook chef and got a mobile griddle, wants to come in and do a steak afternoon, I'm here for
Oh, this
it.
sounds good.
Yeah.
I'll
mushrooms.
subcontract you. He just went to the mushrooms.
Why mushrooms?
Why? Why is he down with the fungus? Why
Yeah,
did he-
we're
went straight fungus.
no longer interested.
All right. Are you going to talk about Fox Shocks, or are we just going to talk about your feelings
You're
more?
talking about Fox Shocks.
Ryan's saying I'll sponsor.
Ryan's sponsoring the steak afternoon. I'm talking about Fox Shocks.
You're talking about Fox
Why?
Shocks.
I talked the whole podcast.
I
You don't
know,
want to talk.
it sucks, but that is the reality.
I
of
think
this
at this point
podcast.
we just do a teaser of Fox Shocks and we just make it an episode because there's so much to talk about.
All right.
Fox
There
Shocks.
is so much to talk about. Here's what I will tell you. I was, boom, boom, boom. I was in the King booth.
Oh boy.
Think about them apples. Now, I will tell you, I started the week Tuesday in the Fox booth. There's some things happening right now, folks,
Uh-oh.
and they're very good. And what I always say about Fox is that I know I can make you happy in a Fox.
That's true.
And they are, in my opinion, in our specific geographic and
Joe says you guys just
demographic.
enjoy saying Fox Shocks.
But yeah, we
That's
have
because
no...
we're all Dr. Seuss
Fox
fans.
Shocks rocks.
Yes.
We're all
Joe?
Dr. Seuss fans. That's what it is.
That's right. Right. Fox Shocks rocks in the
In the box.
In the box. We can do a whole Dr. Seuss. We will do a Fox Shocks episode, and there will be a tongue twister Dr. Seuss thing
And
for
Scott
that.
will not be saying.
I guarantee it. With Scott, we'll need to make up some talk time.
Oh
and
man, this is gonna
he
be fun.
will have to read.
Rap,
It has
rap.
been born
We'll make
right
it rap.
now.
No.
It has been born right now. This idea.
Scott's
Thank
been
you, Joe,
abused
for
enough.
adding to that.
Stop the Scott abuse.
So I did. I am if you've had any time for me to talk beyond just your initial build sheets or kind of what's going on at the shop or with your Jeep or whatever, things that I like how things tick. I like U-joints and flex joints and shocks. I like the little things that other people tend not to care about, that finite minutia.
And that's what makes your Jeep drive and ride nice.
It's the little secret sauce that makes your Jeep just better than your buddies who went somewhere else. And the thing about Fox shocks has to do with particular valving and construction, both internal and external. Seated next to us could be, I don't know, it could be whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Except for unless it's Joe Brilla's new stereo stabilizer.
No.
Okay.
It's a JL.
What? I don't think we went with the small one for Joe. That's right. So what Fox brings to the table is decades of high quality energy dampening, design, engineering, and production.
and they look cool.
And they look cool, and they last. They look cooler, and they last longer than other products that look cool
about
as well.
80,000 miles on my JK.
Absolutely. They have more robust seal structures. The only downside to Fox shocks, especially in a monotube design or your standard 2.0 smooth body shock, is the fact that they will depreciate in the whoops. Here's the thing. They're not built for the whoops. They're built for Scott to drive 80,000 miles in northeastern Ohio.
Yeah.
If you want to run in the whoops, then we're going to need to get you a Resi or a bypass or something, that's comparable.
And if we're honest, how many people whoop their Jeep?
Regularly, right? That was the thing. I it's about regular whooping.
Yes.
Because
and not the caning it whooping, actual
correct.
whoops.
Correct. Because if you only go to Moab once and whoop and you're like disappointed in your shocks, I'm sorry. They work.
And they're going to get you home.
Yeah. They work 80% of the time. And that's probably the number one complaint I have is like, oh, I was out at Southington and I was running through the sand and it, or even Silver Lake or whatever, and they got squishy on me. Okay. I mean,
Pull over, give your Jeep a minute.
Yeah.
Have a sandwich.
Right.
It'll be okay.
With that said, Fox is straight bringing heat these days.
And have to, I think.
They kind of have to. And they are trying to...
Chuck says whoops are for Broncos. Real men rock crawl.
Chuck is on fire today.
Yes.
This is a great... comments are on fire today.
I know.
This is a good moment to take a spot and say, hey, if you're listening to us on your favorite streaming podcast platform, come over and join us on a live one day.
Yeah.
Jump on comments and
you're missing some stuff.
and have a good time with us,
Yeah.
But with that said, Fox is on fire. They are stocked up with Jeep product material.
Thank God.
And they are developing big, bad stuff. And I can't speak enough good things into the universe about what has been told to me, the consistency, and then the follow through that I've seen. They came back to me in June and they said, Neil, we're sorry we screwed up. Please give us a chance again. In August, had a conversation, said, Neil, we know we screwed up with a lot of stuff. We're bringing the heat back to the, to the kitchen. And here's what we have to offer. And they've only followed it through with actual production items here in November. So they have not only just talked the talk, but they're walking the walk at this point in time. So I'm very excited out of them. Like I said, I did spend some time with King and understanding what they're doing because we have had some customers request King and King's product lines. Very, very viable product. It'd be nice to have King and Fox as viable options within our house. We are already one of the largest Fox distributors in the tri-state area. And so it would be cool to add that King option to the table as well when people are looking for just the ultimate performance shocks on the market in that Fox and King, kind of
like giant CJ7s on 37s.
just like that. But very cool stuff and really great stuff coming down the pipe. We'll talk more about Fox in the very near future. We'll do a whole podcast on them, talk about where they came from, what makes them just uniquely different. And I can tell you, there is a particular shock manufacturer that I have not mentioned that came on really strong over the last few years. Please take note that I did not mention them. I'm not going to bring them up. I'm not going to run anything into the ground. But there is a big, notable Jeep shock manufacturer. And I didn't mention them because they're not relevant. They're not available anymore. Now, I shouldn't say they're not available. They are available. They're not on the main stage like they once were. And there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll leave that with that conversation.
With that bombshell.
Oh, my gosh.
So I think at this point, because we so much focused on SEMA, next week we're going to have to discuss our look back at our 1 year of podcast.
I think that's a great plan.
Yeah.
So,
and then we're going to get Rob Morgan on.
Yes.
Because he needs to come on. People need to know about Daddy Jeep and his YouTube channel and his build and some of the other cool stuff that he's doing.
He did call me out last week. He emailed me and said, "Hey, I'm still waiting to hear from you guys for dates." And I replied back. I said, "Hey, yeah, these dates, which one? Let me know."
Fire.
Folks, if you tried it all to reach us last week,
Godspeed,
or the week prior, we apologize.
Yes,
it has been a fun one. I hope you enjoy our coverage. Watch for our videos coming out. Obviously, check out our social media as more pictures and follow up comes out from SEMA and other cool hot or not stuff that I've got going on. I will leave you with that last thought. There was a really cool pink Barbie Jeep that I think Chuck loved. It is actually from a builder here in Northeastern Ohio. He's like a monster truck builder. Hey, good for him. Despite that, it might not
all
be
those parts of that guy.
Despite the fact that it might not be to our taste, and it's not. I understand that. It was actually decently built.
Thank goodness. About time.
It was.
He said, "I think the Green Hornet was the crash test dummy."
All right, folks. I hope you had a good time with us. Until next week, Jeep on.
Jeep on.